Hey everybody, I'm Catherine and I am taking advantage of the last of the sunlight for today to do a review for you of Fire Study by Maria V. Snyder. So this is the third book in the study series, which, if memory serves, this was the first high fantasy trilogy that Maria V. Snyder really came out with. This one specifically was released in 2008. And this is the third book, so they've been on the market for a while. This book does pick up pretty much directly where Magic Study left off, which I loved. I love it when I'm getting into a trilogy, and Maria V. Snyder is awesome for this, but she just kind of like continues it on. There's no weird like separation of like 2 years later. It's great. So action continues. I'm not sure exactly how I feel about this book. I really enjoyed it. I, like the previous two, did it through audiobook and reading it, which Amazon WhisperSync is amazing. I love the fact that my Kindle and my Audible book will sync when they're part of it. It's just, it makes reading so much easier. That being said, yeah, anyway. I loved Poison Study. Poison Study was amazing. I love the characters. I fell in love with the characters. I needed more of the characters, which I got in this book, and I got in the second one, although I didn't like it as much as the first one, and I think I like this one better than the second one. It's just so much happened in this book that I feel like some of it could have been cut out, and, you know, it wasn't necessary maybe. But at the same time, I can't picture certain things being cut out and then the story still being the same in the end. Some people on Goodreads, not necessarily a lot, but some people on Goodreads mentioned that at like 100 pages in, and this is a pretty hefty book at over 400 pages in, so less than a quarter of the way in, people were saying that they figured out the big twist. I don't know if I'm just dense, but I didn't figure out the big twist until I was told the big twist, and I was slightly surprised. But then I was like, yeah, that character is a total ass, and I can see that. I can totally see it. Yeah. So as obvious as it could have been, I just oblivious, apparently. And that was like the big issue of the book. And there were other smaller issues, and the thing I liked about this book is that it was setting up for her next trilogy, the Glass trilogy, which stars Opal from this book. She was introduced in the second one, was more prominent in this one. But yeah, I don't know. The romance kind of fell flat for me. I kept just wanting to kind of punch Yelena and be like, stop being such a baby. You have friends, and they will help you, so tell them what's going on instead of trying to fix things and then have them fall apart in your face. But yeah, I really did enjoy it. It wasn't as up there as Poison Study was, and I think that really affected it for me. But I love Snyder's writing, so that just, I mean, she could probably write my textbook and I would read it more than I actually do. You are taken back to Ixia in this book, which I really enjoyed that little glimpse back into characters from the first book that didn't appear in the second one. Like the seamstress lady from the commander's compound castle place. And Marin, I really enjoyed Marin, so seeing them again in the book was really nice. A few questions that I had were being answered in this book when Yelena went back to Ixia, which was great. I really enjoyed how they kind of explained the commander's situation, which, okay, spoiler alert from the first book, but if you're watching this video, chances are you've at least read the first one, I hope. So if not, I'm sorry. But in the first book, it's brought about that the commander is actually a transsexual. He was born a female, and it's shown a little in the second book as well, when the commander comes to Cydia as his like female counterpart. But I really enjoyed how this explained why the commander felt like a man in a woman's body. And I thought that it could relate a lot to how actual transgendered people might feel. Basically, he has two souls, and there's a female soul that has kind of took over when he was younger and a baby, but the male soul is the actual soul, so it's what feels right in the body. And I thought that was just really nice. I did. I didn't think that Valak was as prominent in this book as he was in the first one, and more prominent so than the second one, because someone on Goodreads made a really accurate comment that, I mean, his role in the second book was kind of just as like a getting off mechanism for Yelena, which after reading it I can totally see it. This one, at least, he has more to do, but it took a while for his character to show up in this book, which I did like. I like the fact that the focus is more on Yelena and the politicalness of the book and the magic, and not on Yelena and Valak, which refreshing for a lot of stuff. I love the relationship that Yelena has with Kiki, and in this book it kind of expands to Yelena's relationship with more than just Kiki, but like the Kiki voice was awesome. I love Kiki. Like, it must be nice to be a horse and just things are more black and white, like easy living. I would recommend this book to people who are really big fans of Maria V. Snyder's writing and who enjoyed Poison Study and want to know more. Obviously, you're not going to read this book if you haven't already read Poison Study, but yeah. You really have to enjoy the high fantasy and a lot of like political plot lines to enjoy this book a lot, because that's basically what it focuses on, is magic and government and war. So if you're looking for a lot of the romance, this isn't the book for you. I wouldn't suggest maybe reading this book if you didn't really like Magic Study after reading Poison Study as well. I liked it more than Magic Study, but you might not. If you really want to know where the story goes, then yes. I would not suggest reading the synopsis for the fourth book in what is actually the beginning of a new trilogy with Yelena before reading this, because stuff happens and I was like, well, it's not going to stay happened because that's in the next book. So the heartache wasn't what it could have been, which was maybe a good thing. But yes. Speaking of, so there is a fourth book, or no, because it's the same characters, but there's another book coming out after Fire Study called Shadow Study that takes place, as far as I can remember, several years later. So that'll be interesting to read because I have it on my Kindle from NetGalley. So as always, guys, let me know what you think of this book. Let me know if you enjoy high fantasy even. Recommend other high fantasy books to me because I've been really getting into it lately and I want some more. So there you go. And until next time, everybody, happy reading.